JW is back at it here to give everyone another Walking Dead Season 6 episode review video, but before I get into that, it's extremely important if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead for you to do your due diligence and pay attention to this episode title. I'll put this title episode in the description for you. If that's the case and you find yourself not caught up, I suggest, and so does everybody else, that you don't continue watching this video to avoid any forthcoming spoilers. This will be The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode number 4. The title of this episode is called Here's Not Here. This will be my review, reaction, recap of the episode. And keep in mind, as I tell you guys in every video going forward, I've already seen the episode a few times. I'm just reviewing it to have it reviewed on the channel, and reviewing it due to the fact that they announced that Season 11 of The Walking Dead is going to be the final season of the main Walking Dead show, not necessarily the end of the Walking Dead story. So, after the wolves' attack on Alexandria, Morgan secretly imprisons the wolf he had captured in the unfinished ground floor of an unoccupied Alexandria townhouse. Now, in an effort to redeem the wolf by convincing him to renounce his violent ways, Morgan decides to tell him about his past. Flashbacks show Morgan's life sometime after Rick's brief reunion with him. Morgan exhibits deranged and obsessive behavior and accidentally burns his house down when he knocks over a lamp. Morgan then camps out in the forest where he lives with his illness and kills any walkers or humans that intrude upon his marked territory, including a father-son who he crosses paths with. Now, while further exploring the forest, Morgan follows the belting of a goat named Tabitha and finds the remote cabin of Eastman, who calls out to him, offering to talk and feed him despite Morgan's attempts to shoot him, eventually knocking Morgan out with a bow stick. Morgan awakens in a cell in the cabin behind bars and orders Eastman to kill him. Eastman instead feeds Morgan and gives him a book called The Art of Peace, or a very mini book. I don't know, it's not really a book, but it was like a little mini magazine sort of thing, like a TV guide sort of thing. But Eastman goes out about his peaceful life, taking care of Tabitha and trying to make his cheese. After giving Morgan a while to adjust, Eastman explains that he was a forensic psychiatrist employed by the Georgia to evaluate convicts prior to their release. Though Morgan admits to be unrepentant killer who only lives to clear areas of the walkers and the living, Eastman sees that Morgan has PTSD over the loss of his family. He also reveals that the cell was never, in fact, locked, and Morgan is free to go at any point in time. Morgan then attempts to attack Eastman, who proves capable of reading intent and defending himself with Aikido. Beaten, Morgan returns to his cell. Now, Eastman, he begins to talk about taking a trip through. He has no specific destination in mind and leads to scavenge supplies. Now, Morgan leaves the cell to rescue Tabitha from the attack by a pair of walkers and discovers a graveyard where Eastman has buried at least 24 bodies. Eastman thanks Morgan on his return for saving Tabitha, and they repair the damage together, and Eastman actually gives Morgan a bow stick and begins teaching him Aikido. And then Eastman begins recounting more of his personal life to Morgan and how his job had him suffering emotional distress over working in close proximity with violent offenders. Now, practicing Aikido helped him, and he came to see that all life is precious. Morgan later recounts how he lost his wife and son to walkers. Eastman tells him of one true psychopath he'd met, Crichton Dallas Wilton, who attacked him during an interview and later escaped to kill Eastman's wife and son and daughter. Now, Eastman reveals he had the cell built to hold Wilton, but evades whether he actually did it, repeating that he believes all life is precious. To gather supplies for their trip, Morgan takes Eastman to his camp. The setting brings back old feelings and behavioral problems for Morgan, and he freezes when a walker of the young man that he had choked out and strangled comes at him. Eastman saves Morgan, but is bitten in the process, and Morgan lashes out at Eastman, wanting to die again. Eastman actually subdues Morgan, and the two part ways. Now, Morgan regresses and reassumes patrolling his territory, killing a walker, and inadvertently saving a couple whose reward, or who actually rewarded him with a large can of soup and an ammunition cartridge. Morgan takes up the bow staff, recognizing that Eastman's way is better, and returns to the cabin only to find a walker feasting on poor Tabitha. Morgan kills the walker and takes its body and Tabitha's to the graveyard, where he finds Eastman succumbing to the bite. Morgan spots a grave marker with Wilton's name, and Eastman confesses to kidnapping Wilton and starving him to death over 47 days, over which Eastman actually lost himself. And when he went to Atlanta to turn himself in, he found that society had collapsed. And then Eastman, all he says to Morgan, Morgan has to do, or what he wants to give to Morgan, is this rabbit foot that his daughter gave him to give him good luck, but advises Morgan to find more people and live. After burying Eastman and Tabitha, Morgan begins searching and finds a sign that leads to Terminus. And then in the present time, Morgan finishes his story. The wolf prisoner reveals that he has a gut wound and probably doesn't have time to change, although he doesn't really want to, and he doesn't feel bad about following his code to kill everybody in Alexandria. And then Morgan leaves and locks the door as he exits the townhouse. In the street, Morgan hears Rick screaming to open the gate, and that's how we end Here's Not Here. So this was a very big character development episode for Morgan. We wondered how Morgan was doing, like how he went from Clear season 3 episode 12 to when we saw him come back all peaceful and calm. It's because of this Eastman character. So very good episode to show that. Very slow too, but interesting slow. Character of the episode is going to be Morgan, even though Eastman actually did really good in his one episode with The Walking Dead. I sense that we'll see that character again in maybe a Tales from the Walking Dead story. Just have a hunch. And then my score of the episode, I'm going to give it an 8.9 out of 10. Again, good stuff. Could have had a little bit more in the episode, but it was still good for the most part. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you like this episode, Here's Not Here from Season 6. Go ahead and smash that like button. And you could smash the like button even if you didn't like this episode, but you like other episodes. If you know anybody else that would be interested in watching this video, share the video with them. Let them know to share it with anybody else that they know. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section. That can be your score of the episode, your favorite moment of the episode, favorite characters, least favorite characters, favorite episodes, least favorite episodes. Whatever you want to put that in the comment section. I always respond to all comments. And last but certainly not least, don't forget that sub button. Subscribe to the channel. Join the team. Show your support. And be a part of something special. And JDev will return.